Cool, guys. Thank you so much. So we're still live, no longer recording. So I don't know if that has any impact, but I'd like to, chat. Thanks so much. I've been seeing you guys just chatting it up, chat, and so I'd like to take a little bit of time. If you guys have any questions or anything like that we bring up, it's a long list to scroll. So
it is a long list.
So I do, I feel bad because it's like I want to engage. But I think the conversation.
I saw you struggling to resist there.
It's like I'm like, oh man, like Snow goes ham. He said something so good. I want to comment. So like, and then I'm like, should I type? And then I was like, no. And then of course it's be like, you'd hear me clicking away, and then it's like this is the worst run podcast ever.
So Thamriyell, I have a question for you. How do you decide how to balance your live content and your archive? Like, how do you decide how often to stream, how long you stream? What drives that?
Well, God, it's a weird question. I don't know. It's hard to answer because sometimes in my mind I'm like, okay, I want to do this. This got to be done, and I just kind of do it. It's really hard to explain. Like, let's say for example, I've not been able to make a lot of actual recorded content on this main channel, mostly because I've been busy playing catch up on the second channel. That's been a whole mess and been involved with some personal drama. So I'm still kind of trying to play catch up with that. But if there's a particular topic that I want to talk about or particular, statement that I want to make on, typically I have some sort of B-roll footage in the background and I'll just sit down and crank it out. Like block out everything and just pump out the content. Streaming wise, I try to make sure I stream at least every day, unless there's a real major reason for me to take a break, like for the day. I just took an entire morning off so I could do a bunch of stuff for the second channel, and so I can prepare myself properly for this.
Nice.
And I just want to make sure I update people whenever things are happening. But I'm kind of going through a transitional process where I want to ideally make videos and make sure something is released like every day or every other day, and then stream on a daily as well, and be able to edit the highlights from the stream into actual videos.
That's you bring up the biggest thing. It's like just the time to do it. Thankfully, like one of the things I've I've been focusing on two areas of quality, trying to make the videos more visually entertaining and interesting with good edits, and then quantity, like also trying to keep with its schedule. And it's like with work and things like that, I'm like, that's why I'm glad I have Chris as a partner in this case, because it's like
I can't do both at once. Like I spent January focusing quality, and now I'm trying to spin up into quantity.
But you try to learn and add that to your skill set.
Right. I'm learning. Okay,
as I get better, I get faster, and then I can kind of.
How do I reduce my editing time? How to reduce my upload time? Focusing on quantity, and then I'll go back to how do I learn a new visual trick? How do I? And we'll focus on quality, and I'll just jump back. I can't do both. So Snow Goes Ham asked. What do you guys think of new indie MMORPGs? I kind of think they're bound for budget failures and inexperienced development teams. I would say, what is the place to expand on this if we have to put a name on it? Like, what do you think about games that kind of fall in that second or even third tier? I kind of think of Warframe as like punching well above its weight, but when you see like its graphics, it's not a AAA game, but it's wonderful. So kind of what do you guys think on that?
I think it's all about setting the expectation. But the thing is that with MMOs, like Yoshi P gave a talk at GDC, and he was like, he put up like a slide, and it was just filled with text, and he's like, this is what people expect, and we do. Like when you go into an MMO, you're like, okay, why can't I do this? Well, when 14 launched, there was no glamour, and like, why we can't glamour? Now it's been years, and now we got a decent glamour system. Not that the first one was bad. It's just like, gosh, this is what I want.
The one in WoW will blow your mind.
Yeah, the wardrobe system.
Well, anyway,
and the heirloom system from it, you're gonna be like, why is this not a thing? Yeah. You just once you unlock an heirloom, you just go to whatever other class you want to use the heirloom on, and you just click on it, and it just puts the item in your inventory. Don't worry about it.
I think that'd be great to see some videos on that, Chris. Break it down for me. Teach me how to.
I just discovered it last night. I'm working on it.
So I'm concerned with it. It's like, experience makes a big difference, but budget makes even bigger a difference. And it's not about it. So if they have the expectation to grow over time, something like Warframe has done really well. That's great. And you see these games, and you see Siege, continue to Rainbow Six Siege, these persistent games to grow. and it sets the expectation, and they deliver consistently. That's where Destiny actually really ruined the franchise for me, is that they hit the whole reset button, and now I'm like, I don't trust that you're not gonna hit the reset button again. Why invest in your game? And so for anybody who's going to be doing this budget wise or inexperience wise, it's about controlling that expectation. And so I would, if I was counseling, if I was a consultant for them on that project, I would say, you're going to be in beta forever, and that's what you see these games do. Early access communicates that there are going to be problems, but they communicate that right from the start. So there's not this expectation that I'm going in to have a AAA experience. But if you go and you do marketing, if Square Enix tried it, people would be like, and they released it and you paid for it. That was called 1.0, and everybody and they lost so much money on that bet.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just it's a beta, but if your progress carries over, I'm in. I will help you test. I'll provide feedback, and if you listen to me, you don't have to take all my ideas, because listening and actually and executing are two different things. But if I feel heard, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna keep giving my ideas, because I'm not the designer. I'm here for the game, but I will let you know, because that's the kind of guy I am. So.
So I'm going to direct the next one at Thamriyell, and I'm going to start off by saying time management is something I personally struggle with. I overcommit to things. I get really excited about things that I'm capable of doing, or I'm capable of learning to do, that I want to. I'm not good at it now, but I'd like to be, and so I commit, especially in games. I want to complete the whole game because they took the time to develop it, and it's beautiful, and I want to experience all of it.
Man,
but then I commit to 10 games, and you just can't play 10. So I literally have made a spreadsheet this weekend when I was culling the games, because I have so many good ones that are now going to get tossed into my pile of shame for now, until I can kind of get to them, because I can't be playing this. And so Ashura said, I like Warframe. I just have no time between working on my Final Fantasy 14 stuff and playing Fallout 4. And so my question for you, Thamriyell, is, you have a second channel that almost focuses on a side aspect of your first channel, which is probably why you split them. Yeah. And makes sense to me. So how do you balance how much time goes into any one game?
Sacrifice sleep and social life.
The sleep thing is so true.
Balance is for quitters.
To be honest, the second channel was originally there so that I could have I would never be able to complete any games if I didn't put YouTube or social media related time into it. And that's a problem for me, because let's say, for example, I literally take a break for 3 days. I probably won't play anything whatsoever. I'll probably not play a single thing. I'll just be lazing around watching YouTube videos or watching streams of other people playing games and stuff, because unless I have that,
what streamers do you watch?
Unless I have that particular commitment to myself, okay, I will be making a playthrough or I will be streaming this particular game, I will never be able to make any progress in that one game. Breath of the Wild, as much as I want to play it, I only find myself really dedicating a lot of time into it when I stream it. And when I stream it, I play for 3 to 4 hours, because I just want to put as much time as I can with it.
So if you're streaming Zelda, I guess that you're not a part of the Nintendo Creators Program?
Nope, I'm not.
Yeah, that's they're oh my gosh, I hate them so much. And I love Nintendo now, and it's come on, I just want you guys.
Nintendo's that one company that I'm always frustrated they're not reaching into my bank account more often. I like the stuff I buy from them, and they don't want my money.
Yeah.
They don't want to release consoles on time. They don't want to release games on time. If they will set an expectation, which I will say they've done with the Switch. I ordered my Switch. I got it on time. Every game they've said they were going to release for this year has come out. They've been great. The Switch is a total departure from the Wii U.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because I owned the Wii U. I owned the Wii. I go way back.
I think I've got time for one more question, and I like Tank Stance. He's got a question. Chris, you might run that down.
Yeah. So a question I usually ask is how straightforward gear progression in Final Fantasy 14. I'm kind of hoping for some other ways to get gear that isn't limited to just crafted Sigma Weekly tomes and Sigma Savage gear. Have some augments on gear or something to make S-rate hunts drop extremely rare gear to change the formula up, kind of. I would say initially my first response to this is 4.25 is supposed to do that. Relic weapon and relic armor is that alternative.
Yeah, I hope so.
But maybe you guys have something to weigh in on that.
Chris, you've kind of said, I'm going to jump in and I'll let, because I think this is kind of for both of you, because it's more for WoW, and I'm the WoW inexperienced person here, is that you guys have this stuff that you're leveling up gear, and your gear levels up, right?
So we have artifact weapons.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like having a relic weapon, but it's all the time. It has an ability. You have a couple to choose from, but it fits really well with WoW's system because there's a big difference between a WoW character and a Final Fantasy character. It starts there. So a Final Fantasy character has all the classes, and when you go into a profession, that profession is its own class. So you are a goldsmith, you are a botanist, you are a fisher. If something comes across you while you're a fisher, you have totally forgotten that you're a warrior and that you also have a sword in your backpack, and you have to just run from this guy. WoW is not that thing. You have all the secondary professions available to you. You pick 2 primary professions, and you have a character that has some number of specs. Way back when I used to play, it's always 3. My understanding is as I level my characters up, I'm going to realize that now some of the classes have 4, some have 3, some have 2.
Druid is 4, Demon Hunter is 2.
Right. So they've changed the number of specs, but these specs allow you to do different things. So like my Druid can heal, can tank, can be melee DPS, or can be range DPS. And it has all 4 roles, but some classes don't have all 4 roles. And so as you pick your class, you really invest time in this one character. And so when you talk about an artifact system, a relic system, to translate those words, it ties so much into your character. It's so much a part of you because you have one weapon for each of these stances, but it's only your one character, that the artifact power comes from pretty much everything you do. It's basically post-cap XP, and it's available from everything. So there is progression available, but not in the same way. Your eye level is almost a secondary stat. You want to know, well, you want your artifact weapon plays into it. Like my artifact weapon's level 75. Your eye level does matter, but your artifact weapon is something different. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think, Tham?
I have like only 1 month's worth of experience regarding the artifact weapon system. What I found a little bit silly is that like, while the system is fun on its own, and I will be happy if they just were to perfect that system in next expansion, that'd be perfectly fine. But perfectly fine just having like some sort of a relic weapon type to work on instead of having different types of weapons. Although I do like the fact that Final Fantasy 14 has that route where like, oh, you are gonna have a really high progression regarding Savage, or Savage raids and stuff. There is the relic weapon you could work on, and technically you can be able to like get your raid progression going on here with the weapon, and then eventually work towards your relic to make sure it's like best in slot and everything. I like the whole sort of system, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna be introducing in 4.25 regarding it. Since I never got to take on the relic weapon in Hammond's Ward. I was a little bit too busy with the university stuff and bonus and everything. Yeah, I straight up skipped it, so I just found other avenues to get weapons and everything. But interesting in a relic weapon and a relic armor, and just want to wait until it's executed. But the one thing I did appreciate in World of Warcraft is that you only had one weapon to focus on. Your one weapon, like in Final Fantasy 14, was locked to your specialization. So like as a Death Knight, if I had dual blades, I was a Frost Death Knight. If I had a two-handed sword, I was an Unholy Death Knight. If I had the battle axe looking thing, I was the tank, the Blood Death Knight. And be able to focus on these particular specs and work towards those weapons was nice, because I didn't have to, like, okay, I got a new weapon for Blood Death Knight, let's go ahead and equip the set, re-update the set. It's like, I equip the weapon, I immediately switch the specialization or whatever. Yeah. It was that sort of thing. It was nice, but at the same time made me feel a little bit silly when I was running around as a paladin, let's say, for example. And there was the Ashbringer. It's like this godly weapon that was like in the heavy meaning in the lore, and like you see every paladin run around with it. It devaluates the whole like epicness of it. It's like the Ashbringer, and then every paladin has it. It's like, oh, right. Okay, that's a little bit silly. I heard that in the new expansion you'll be able to actually create your own weapon from like the fragments, the aftermath of the Legion of Final Raid, and that sounds awesome to me. Let me design my weapon. Let me choose if I'm a paladin, if I have a two-handed sword or a two-handed axe or a polearm or a mace. That'd be cool.
So what do you feel about crafting in general? Should crafters be able to craft end-game gear? Obviously, there would have to be a limit on the mats that go into it. So there would have to be something like a raid drop mat that helps, or some world quest mat, or some weekly mat that kept crafters from just flooding the market. But what do you guys think about crafters taking a greater role in end-game gear?
Absolutely. I think that they should be able to make the best gear in the game using mats from some of the hardest content in game. But I go the opposite way of how it is now. Not that you can't get great gear drops, but it'd be so cool if there were crafted drops that then could even be greater gear, or your gear would be that you acquire via the hardest content would be enhanced by crafters somehow. Outside of just the Matera or Materia system. I don't know how it's said.
So that'd be cool. That'd be definitely cool. I haven't really y'all heard of the new Monster Hunter World, right?
Yes, I have. It is great.
Crap out of it.
It is amazing.
I'm waiting for the PC release. I really want to get it for PS4 because I really want to play it, but I want to wait until the PC release. So I'm trying to be as patient as I possibly can. Yeah. But it'd be absolutely awesome if, let's say, for example, in 14, there was a way for you to get extremely be able to have you craft end game gear, but make it equally as challenging or as effort, takes as equal amount of or modicum amount of effort as, let's say, for example, progressing with a static in Savage. As long as the same amount of level of effort is, there, I think it would be perfectly fine. So let's say, for example, somebody is a carpenter. If they have, if they grind up certain amount of materials from world bosses or something, or certain fates or particular encounters, or maybe even primals or something, and be able to finally create, the bow for end game progression, I think it'd be perfectly fine as long as there's enough, at least a modicum amount of effort required in order to make that. I think it'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not make it so you can create end game weapon on day one, but they work really hard, able to farm certain things, and able to refine materials in order to create the end game gear. After 7-week progress and stuff, sure, fine. Well, there are other people who can go into I don't know, right now we go into Sigmascape for 7 weeks. We get the things and we turn in the tombstones. Ta-da! Another way to get end game stuff. Just make sure it's equal effort, so it's not one overshadows the other.
Exactly. I think that that's probably the biggest challenge that we see. That is the balance, and they've gone heavy into the content drops, and you see that eventually every now and then they bring in the crafters as a kind of a catch up. And I always kind of as a 11 player where gear was and the economy was such an important factor. There was such a player driven, almost sandbox style system. Sometimes there is this, and there are downsides to it. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a perfect system, the things that I think of, but no, it's it's the point where it could help fix the economy. There's a lot that they could do that would be interesting and helpful there. With that, everybody, thanks for hanging out in chat. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for engaging. We'll be back next week.
Hit that follow button.
Hit that follow button. Hit that hit your likes, favorite, subscribe, share with your friends. Do
hit the subscribe button over on Twitch, and check out the Patreon for Work to Game.
Man, we just need to have we need to gift that and be like it's I always kind of feel weird about it, but guys, I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you so much, and we'll see you obviously on YouTube and next week too as well. And so
I will be streaming in about an hour and a half.
So if you didn't get enough Chris, come back.
I have I have to run one errand, so if I'm running a little late, it's because I haven't left yet.
What are you streaming this afternoon?
This afternoon, I will be leveling botany. The dream would be to hit 50. I hit 44 on Tuesday. And then I will be jumping over to definitely Dragon Quest Builders, depending on time. I would also love to hop over to WoW for just a little bit. They gate flying behind a series of achievements, and one of those is Lore Master in the new zones. And so I would like to continue working on my Lore Master, even though I've already capped. I need to go back and Lore Master is just finishing all the quests in a specific zone. So I need to go back and just finish all the quest hubs in the zones that I didn't get to before cap, because I had a huge boosted amount of experience. So I ran into cap before I ran out of zones.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, sorry, Carlinzo just joining us, Codebreaker just joining us. Sorry that, but we'll be back noon o'clock Central Time next week with Mr. Happy. And then you guys will be able to see this on YouTube tomorrow. What I might do is, this was actually a really cool, interesting conversation. I might, for the thing, put the podcast up as the podcast and put this up as just a fun little extra thing about, talking about 14 and different stuff like that. So 2 shows for the price of 1, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're ending the stream. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click over here to see more videos just like it, or you should click down here to check out our recent vlog. But you can also click somewhere down here below to hit the subscribe button, as well as check out our other info. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.